Hello guys, I'm here again with a new story. First, let's hear the story. And then I will give my opinion based on the story. Here we go.
Realized that my best friend has a very inappropriate relationship with his mother. My best friend who I grew up with used to get teased a lot about being a mama's boy. Honestly, now that I look back on it, he's always had a very weird relationship with his mother. As we got older and started getting into girls more, he would say weird stuff and normally I'd laugh it off and call him a weirdo, or when we got older I'd tell him he needs to get out the house more. When we were checking out chicks, he'd say stuff like my mom has a way better body than she could ever have, or my mom's chest is way bigger, and stuff like that. As far as I can tell, it's always been him and his mom. Growing up I had never seen him get a girlfriend. I mean, he talked to girls and stuff, but I never physically saw him have a relationship with any girl until the one he got married to. Fast forward to this last weekend that just passed, and his wife, who I'm really cool with, says to me I hate it when he goes on his family trips cause whenever he comes back home to me he's always cold and acts like a jerk to me. So then we started talking about his family trips. I remember when he started taking family trips when he got married, I always thought that because he was old enough and mature now that he'd go and spend time with his father or something. I don't really know. But when his wife said it was just him and his mom and they do this family trip every month or so, we started talking. Things got even weirder to the point, as was said, okay, enough crazy for one night, he takes family trips over the weekend with just him and his mom every other month. Started to become more frequent the longer his marriage went on. I spoke to him today and just joked around about stuff pertaining his situation, and he got kinda agitated towards me. He said, "What, you think I'm being intimate with my mom? What kind of freak does that?" And I just rolled with it, kinda laughed it off and said I was just messing with him. But his reaction was not genuine at all. There is a lot more to add, but I really don't want to fully go into every detail. If his wife is cool with it, should I be too? He's like a brother to me, so should I just let this go and forget about it? I don't want to ruin our relationship or sour it or even possibly uncover something that makes him do something extremely irrational. If it has been going on this long, I want to try and help him. Update 1. Hello to everyone again. So many people had asked me for an update and PM'd me asking to be updated about the situation, so here it is. Over this past week, my wife and my friend's wife sat at their house and had a long discussion on how to approach this very delicate situation. We decided that's it best to just simply come out and say something, talk about what is going on and what we are feeling. His wife definitely wanted to talk about everything. But she didn't want to do it alone, so she asked if we could sit in with them and let her get down to what's really going on. Fast forward to Saturday and we come over to have this, I don't even know what to call it, big talk. I'm sitting with my wife on one couch and him and his wife is sitting on the other couch watching TV and talking. His wife grabs the remote, turns the TV off and says we need to have a talk, all of us. For some reason she chose to completely ignore everything we went over, how we were going to try and break the ice and lightly touch on the situation and try and be welcoming, warm and understanding, how we set up little spaces so we could backtrack and everything. Nope. She just went straight in for the throat with what's going on with you and your mother. And you need to be honest with me. Everything we planned went right out the window within the very first few seconds. It was like she was attacking him, backing him into a corner instead of trying to be there for him. I was angry, I won't lie, but it's his wife, so I couldn't say anything. She bombarded him with all these questions and accusations, and when she finally let up I was able to quickly get in and try and bring the volume of the room down a bit. I brought up stuff from our past when we were kids and in school and some of the things he said that seemed off and his behavior that was awkward. I laughed a little and threw in a few jokes, and thank goodness my wife was there to laugh and try to help make light of some of what was going on, but his face. He had this look of disgust and defeat. He never commented back on anything, not a single peep, just sat there quietly in what seemed like he was festering in his own misery. As soon as I was done, his wife immediately went back to full-on attack mode with, "You just gonna sit there while we ask you these questions, and your quietness speaks volumes." After about 30 minutes of us asking him questions and stuff, he stood up and balled his fists and finally responded. He was angry that we would suggest these things and asked us if we were all sick people and tried to turn the tables on us. That's when his wife stood up and started crying and accusing him of lying because whenever he lies he touches his face a lot and looks at the floor, which is totally true. She started crying more and screaming, asking him very personal questions about their marriage. To that day I was always kinda jealous of their marriage. They always seemed happier than us, never really argued, very passionate towards each other, and they never ever really complained ever. But when she started talking, why was I wrong? She said stuff like, "Is that why we never make love, because you're out there doing it with your mother? And you are sick in the head, you need help, you therapy and a psychiatrist." She brought up all these things about them never making love, never spending time together. He never gives her compliments, treats her like crap, ignores her when she's talking to him, holds grudges against her for months at a time, and the list goes on and on. Then she stopped and started dry heaving and put her hand over her mouth and saying she's gonna throw up. My wife got up and held her. She continued to dry heave and call him a sicko. Then he just said screw all of you and stormed out of the house and started walking down the street in the neighborhood. I ran up and caught up to him and asked him to come back and calm down, and he ignored me entirely. He called his mom and she came and picked him up a few blocks down the road where he was just standing while I tried talking to him. When he got in the car, he slammed the door, rolled down the window and said, "Never ever talk to me again, I'm deleting you out of my life for good." Then rolled the window up, and that was the last I spoke with him. I went back to his house and tried to console his wife with the help of my wife. She told me all the issues they were having and how deep down she knew what was going on, but he was happy and she didn't know how to handle it. On Monday, I went over to his mother's house and she refused to open the door and even threatened to call the police on me if I didn't leave. His wife hasn't seen or spoken to him since that Saturday, but we all know exactly where he is. I'm going to give everything some time to cool down a bit and call over there on Friday and hopefully talk to him or his mother. His wife went to file for divorce. She asked me not to come over anymore. My best friend has blocked me on everything. I don't know what outcome I thought would happen, but I didn't want this. I'm angry and I blame his wife. Honestly, this could have went so much differently, so much more pleasant. But no. She snapped and just went into full-on attack mode. Maybe she's been living with this for years and it all finally violently erupted. Maybe this was her out and she didn't care about saving her marriage or ruining our friendship. I'm angry that we planned all this crap, planned everything, and then boom, there goes the dynamite. Whatever the case is, that weekend I lost my best friend and that hurts so much. I don't even know what he's going through right now. Was he being honest? Was he telling the truth? Was he lying to us? So many questions and so much heartache right now. Anyways, I went and purchased Scum over the weekend to help get my mind off of things. Sit there and lose a few hours in a different reality seems good right about now. A lot of you wanted an update. No happy ending, no questions answered, friendship ruined. Marriage ruined, so yeah, there's that I guess. Update 2. After not talking to my best friend for over a year and thinking that I lost him forever, I received a very interesting call 2 weeks ago. It was him and he wanted to talk. He asked to meet at our normal hangout spot and I said, yeah, and he said the date and time, and before I could continue to say anything else, he hung up on me. I didn't know what to think honestly. I was happy, but I also was extremely worried. When we met up and he looked like crap, his face was pale, bags under his eyes and he looked miserable. I ran over to him and gave him a big hug. I started crying and said how sorry I was for accusing him of that type of stuff and how he's my brother no matter what and all this other stuff, mostly just spilling my guts and blabbering away to him. He hugged me back and we both cried and apologized, 2 grown men crying like babies. After the initial waterworks we sat down and he told me how his wife had divorced him and how she spread all these lies about him and stuff on her Facebook. How he had gotten fired from his job because of those lies and all of this other stuff that all came from that messed up attempt at an intervention. I just sat there feeling like complete trash knowing that I caused all of this. Just as I was about to apologize, he cut me off and said, "Wait. There is something I need to tell you, man. Remember when I was younger and my parents got that divorce and I told you that mom got really crazy afterwards? Yeah, I remember. The divorce was bad and ugly. His dad cheated on his mom with some super young chick at a fast food place. He told me that after the divorce she started drinking a lot. Sometimes she wouldn't even be able to take him to school or go to work the next day because she'd be so sick. The drinking got worse and one day when he was 15 and sleeping in his bed, his mom came home super late and came into his room completely hammered and sexually assaulted him and then had the audacity to snuggle up in bed with him and pass out. After that night, she'd drink, get drunk and then sexual assault him, and when she was sober she'd act like nothing happened. She even started telling him that he was the man of the house and that he had certain responsibilities now that he's the man of the house. This continued all the way up until January the 1st of this year. He finally had enough and put a stop it. He said he hasn't seen or talked to his mom since March of this year. I just started crying, man, like seriously crying. Here I was thinking I was his best friend and I didn't even know what was going on all these years. I kinda expected something. But I wasn't 100% sure and I didn't have any type of proof at all. He even said how he thought about offing himself up until he met his wife and she took him out of that house, but his mother would still call him over or plan getaways just to get him away from her. His mother hated his wife with a passion. I never knew he was suffering alone all of these years. How could I even begin to call him my best friend or my brother, and I was never ever there one time for him out of all these years he was going through stuff. He asked me to not say anything to my partner and if I could keep this between me and him. Of course I agreed without hesitation. We spoke about him getting help and he made me promise not to say anything about this to anyone. He said he doesn't want his mom to get into any trouble and he doesn't want her to suffer because she's already suffered enough by his dad. I cannot for the life of me believe that all these years she sexually assaulted him and he's still willing to sit here and protect her, even made me promise not to do anything. Honestly? I want to burn her house down with her in it, and I'm sorry if that sounds cruel, but that's what she deserves. I am so incredibly angry and sad and everything in between. I know I said I wouldn't do anything, but I cannot sit around and let her get away with this all these years and she's just going to live her life carelessly while he now has to spend the rest of his life seeking help and getting his life in order? Screw that. Oh man, I don't know what to do, what I should do. I love him, he's my brother, so I will be there for him and help him get the help he needs, but damn it. Gar. I am going to keep his secret safe with me. He's back in my life and I'm given another chance. I won't mess this up again by jumping the gun. I'm just so damn angry. My heart is hurting and I feel so terrible. I really want that woman to pay. But at the risk of losing my friendship?
Okay, guys, that is the story. This story portrays a complex and emotionally charged situation involving inappropriate behavior and trauma. It's important to approach this situation with empathy and sensitivity, understanding that the emotions and dynamics involved are extremely challenging. From what is described, it appears that his best friend has been through an incredibly difficult and traumatic experience involving his mother's inappropriate behavior. He has chosen to protect her by not revealing this to anyone, even to the detriment of his own mental and emotional well-being. The fact that he's now opening up to his friend after so many years is a sign of trust and a desperate need for support. Ryder's emotions, including anger and a desire for justice, are understandable reactions to learning about such a disturbing situation. However, it's crucial to prioritize his friend's well-being and his wishes. At this point, the most important thing is to be there for him, listen to him, and support him in seeking the professional help he needs to process and heal from this trauma. While the desire for retribution is understandable, it's important to remember that seeking revenge or harming others is unlikely to provide the healing and closure his friend needs. It's commendable that he wants to stand up for his best friend, but the best way to do that right now is by being a supportive friend and helping him access appropriate therapy and counseling. Ultimately, the most important thing is to respect his best friend's wishes and support him on his journey toward healing and recovery. This may be a long and challenging process, but a caring and supportive friend can make a significant positive impact on his life. Please share your thoughts in the comment section. And subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video. Goodbye.